right. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to another episode on For the Greater Good podcast. I am one of your co hosts, Uzumaka or Jacko.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to another episode on our lovely podcast for the greater good. I am your other co host, Chanel Dubique. Today, we are discussing a very important episode. In our world, it clearly is end of 2025, and it is called Finding Purpose After Burnout. And we definitely should be asking the questions, what is burnout really? And how do you know that you are burnt out versus just tired or feeling overwhelmed? How do you really feel? Is it a quiet place with a few signs that you often ignore and just realizing, okay, what that will look like? Because the body does carry signs and it does let you know what's really happening. It is, who I am if I'm not all of this chaos and all of these things that are happening in my world all at once. And with that, it is sometimes difficult to sift through the noise and to sift through things to figure out where can you find realignment? Where can you rediscover what you truly want to do? And the years behind us right now at this point in time, which is really just putting down roots and to discover what is there. How do we feel alive, feel rejuvenated to take on task and to take on life in 2026, right, Uzo?
Exactly. So, that is
Yeah.
really what we're talking about today. And I'm really excited to get into this conversation, especially because it's coming to the end of the year. This is the question that we're all feeling. For this part of our conversation, I want to ask the question. So, is burnout, is it sometimes like a breaking point that invites transformation, especially when we feel that we're doing everything right?
Yes, definitely. You have a moment to pause and to stop and
Yeah.
to redirect your course. And don't feel like because you're stopped and you are relaxing, you are resting, because rest is part of the natural journey of life. So it allows you to sit in that space of momentary discomfort and however long it might be to
Mhm.
assess and figure out how you feeling. Ask
Yeah.
yourselves questions. Am I in touch with where I am going? What you're pursuing makes your heart heavy. Do you feel like it's urgent or do you feel refreshed and aligned with that vision that you're pursuing? So it allows you to really have a moment to transform and to really figure out where am I going? Does it make me feel safe? Do I feel proud? Do I feel like I'm honoring that space?
I think that when it comes to burnout, the first feeling we feel is just that heaviness.
Yeah.
That feeling of, oh my gosh, there's so much weight that I'm carrying right now with just everything that has happened this year, work wise, family wise, friend wise, just all aspects of life. And I think that I have to agree with you that it also is a time where it can invite transformation. With all this heaviness, you do find time to reflect on all the things that are weighing you down. And then also to say, okay, slowly, slowly, the more that you just dig and pinpoint each of those things that you're carrying, then you start to release and let go. And I think that's where the transformation happens.
Yes, in that space of grace, right? That space of I am not going where I was going, but I can
Yeah.
really pause and say, do I continue? But the question is, of course, do I continue like I was, or do I continue differently? And that is really to ensure that you don't get burnt out again.
Yeah.
But with that as well, when we feel that burnout, knowing that there's a heaviness, we carry that like a load, is it a message? And what do you think is trying to teach us?
I think it is. You've had enough.
Yeah.
That's the first message that comes to my mind is when I'm feeling really burnt out and just overwhelmed, just that acknowledgement of look at all the things that I'm carrying, right? Now that I know that I'm carrying all these things, is there any change that I need to now make to make that load lighter, right? So the second message is something needs to change in order for me to not feel like super overwhelmed, for me to erase this heaviness or get out of this like funk of burnout, you know?
Yeah, I love that. I don't think I have much to add because that's a signal. Something is
Hmm.
wrong. something
Yeah.
is not right in the space of who you are being. And how do you
Yeah.
figure out how to change that?
And along with those emotions, when you realize that something needs to change, you're just like, I feel like, I know for me, my body kind of goes into like a panic almost, because it's like, wait, something needs to change. Like, what needs to change? And I'm all just trying to figure out, like what happened? How did we get to this point?
Yeah. It is hard because you are now stopping a safe place that you've come to know. And there is a break in that to another breed of you becoming something different. And it's like a death of the old you. So you're going to have a few things that you're feeling that heaviness is gonna come heavy because you have clearly held yourself in such high regard that by stopping, once again, you are uncomfortable. You are asking yourself, how did I get there? And how did I feel? And how can I ensure that I don't go back there? So you have this guilt that you're feeling clearly, this discomfort, this kind of breathless uneasiness that you're constantly feeling like I'm not right, like something is absolutely wrong.
Right.
And that leaves a void because you feel like something is truly missing. But in that discovery, okay, what is missing and how do I go pursue it is where I think we can ensure that we have no positive emotions, that void can be replaced, or we can use it
Hmm.
as a bridge to cross over to the next discovery of what's better for us. And it's not going to be
Right.
always easy because sometimes there it could be a continuation of where you are, but it could also be something that you want to start brand new. It has probably been a hesitation with you leaving a company and starting your own business, or you going a different business route in your personal business, perhaps expansion with a new customer base, a new clientele. So that nervousness is clearly going to have some other emotions that come up with that uncertainty, and that's going to carry some weight as well. We just have to be graceful and compassionate with ourselves to allow that transformation to happen.
I also think that along with those feelings too, when we are rethinking, what's next, sometimes we can also kind of lose sight of our purpose. And sometimes, do you feel that at times when you are feeling really burnt out or overwhelmed, that we kind of lose a sense of purpose?
Yes.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I have been there, so I can say yes. Because you are so overwhelmed in that chaos and with the urgency to get somewhere and to get something done that you are fully in pursuit of completing that urgency. And with that, if it's an urgency, that means it's a deviation from your path because it's something that you can pace yourself to get there. There are stages to get somewhere. And if you're trying to jump 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 steps all at once in step one, how are you allowing yourself the patience to get from one phase to another? That's stunted growth because you're not really seeing what it takes and what measure has been for you to go from one to step two to step three to step four. So it gets difficult because if you have all this chaos in your mind, you're questioning, where do I go? And if you're not sure that it is a moment that is carrying a lesson for you to reassess where you are and try to have more comfort and harmony in your own personal life, then it's disrupting your full purpose. So it takes away that vision of how am I on my purpose track or now I am on my regular life track, just completing the task, the mundane task of whatever life is asking of me.
Yeah, because you kind of just get into this mind web of all these things that you feel like needs to change, or feel you just start listing everything, and then now you're questioning everything. And so, but you did mention that you have gone through this. I mean, I've also gone through this too. And I think what makes each time that we go through a series of burnout, you can kind of take lessons from what worked the last time versus what didn't, and then how you can use that to apply to this current situation. And I think for me before, especially in college, that feeling comes at the end of every semester when you're about to take your final exams and you can just see the finish line when you go home for like holiday and everything. Obviously back then you handle it with stressing out and panicking and just on like go mode. But then I think now we kind of have learned to take a step back and to be like, okay, I've one acknowledged that I'm feeling burnt out and now I can identify the source, you know? And so I think this is a perfect time in the year, despite wanting to just relax and be at home with family, especially for the holidays, just to invite a spring cleaning on your life. Just asking yourself, where should I be? What should I be doing? And what restores me? What feels honest right now? What no longer fits? I think those are really good questions to ask yourself so you can really start to identify, okay, these are ways I can like shift things around in my life to lighten the load.
Yeah. No, that's amazing because you have to be asking yourself those questions because one, we are older, there are different priorities in our lives. There are
Oh
different
yeah.
things
Plus they're a little bit more mature.
right, exactly, right? We've been on healing journeys for a
Oh
little
yes.
so many
Yes, that too.
lessons. So we have the perfect playground to say, okay, I'm gonna sit with this funk. I know what it felt like before. And I saw this one developing. I didn't know how to get a grasp on it. I wasn't able to control it or stop it sooner, but I see it, I recognize it. How do I actually now figure out how to get out of it? And it's by asking yourself those very same questions, just as you said. It's what restores me? How can I
Mhm.
stay grounded, but find something brand new to pursue and to get moving again? And that is so important because it reinvigorates you. You know, if you take the right stand on it, I think it can be something so exciting. It sounds like work, but there are some people that will not see it as that. Let it kind of be like a vision board for you in some essence. And just take a moment to sit with yourself and let the time pass to just ask, okay, where am I right now?
Mhm.
And what do I
Yeah.
want from this? How can I change the situation? Yeah.
Yeah. Do you find yourself asking yourself those types of questions right now?
I didn't used to. I would say maybe a quarter ago, I had resources in my availability, and I was able to see those questions, how they played out in redirecting my life that I didn't even know I could be asking the questions in terms of how do I show up? How do I want to show up better? What kind of person I am? How have I lived my life? And how have I lived my life by certain stories? And you kind of see a pattern with certain things, and that you just smile at it because you're like, okay, this is how I've truly operated. So then it just lets you ask the question, okay, you've seen this be happen before, you have seen it play out. What do you want to see happen now? And so those questions help you find, okay, what's rooted in your alignment versus the urgency of where you're trying to go. Yeah.
I agree. I think I'm also asking myself like the same questions now too, just because it is a time where work projects are being wrapped up. And then I'm just kind of thinking about everything that I said I wanted to accomplish on my vision board. Did I accomplish them? What were things that I couldn't quite get to? And what were the reasons why I couldn't get to that? Was
Yeah.
I feeling overwhelmed? Was I also burnt out?
Now that we're doing that, do you feel like
Hmm.
as you ask these questions and you reassess your actions and what happened, your experiences from the current year as we wrap it up, do you feel like a lot of it was rooted in your alignment of your purpose, or you felt like it was more of urgency to get somewhere, to complete something, to complete a work accomplishment or next
Hmm.
phase of growth there?
I would say that it was more on the urgency side, like, oh, I need to, because time is ticking. It's like always hard because you want to take a second to reflect and to really ask yourself these deep questions to really figure out, okay, where are you going? But I think sometimes we're also beating against time because time doesn't stop. And so I think there are certain times this year where I've had to go for more urgent to make a quick decision because I need to do something now. I wish it was more on the other side where I could have it be aligned more with my purpose and I had time to stop and think. So I think that a lot of people, including myself, have had to like make certain transitions and decisions more on the urgency side because of, you know, bills don't stop getting paid. You still have to continue to live, and there's just things that you have no control over that are not going to stop because you need to stop. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
I'm with
think
you.
that.
There is no 50-50 and there's no 100 to alignment. That was not my year. I reflected in preparation for the episode and I was thinking when we wrapped up 2024, I was like, oh my God, best year ever. I'm so
I know
happy.
I
I'm
had the same feeling too.
2025. And then 2025 came and it was like, where do you think you're
Yep.
going? I was like,
Yeah.
I was just moving along. I was just living life, and it was like, no,
I
take a pause.
know.
So I was like, come back here. Let me teach you some realness. And it wasn't fun. It wasn't nice to sit in that space and to sit in some of these moments. But I've found a few peaks. I've found a few mountain tops where I'm like, oh my God, this feels good. And I think that is more treasured than the highs that I had in 2024 because I think those moments was with just myself. And therefore, I was able to have a comfort with myself. So it's slowly getting to that alignment because when we are younger and things happen, it's sometimes difficult to know, understand, or to feel what your purpose is, to be very honest. I have a feeling of what mine is, but I feel like mine is still being discovered. I don't have the full language to put to it yet. So I've lived, especially this year, out of a sense of urgency. The next thing to do, keep distractions at the highest, not the minimum. And I've just been going, if I'm called here for this, then I will more than likely say yes. If my time has been asked here, I'm more likely to say yes. So I think I've lived my life in that space of 2025 out of urgency and distraction. And I'm so glad that I was able to see that and that we are doing this to know that I don't want to do that again because the last 2 months felt like a heaviness. I'll be very frank. It felt
Yeah.
like one that I was carrying and
Yeah.
it was a burnout. It has been a burnout, and it's a burnout phase that I am not completely out of, but I can see it. And the beauty of it is that we can ask the questions that we are now sharing that as we try to figure out what's next is what's really next. How do you want to
Mhm.
get through that phase?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that another important thing that you mentioned too was that you had time to be with yourself. And that was some of the highlights that you're taking away from this year compared to last year. And I think that had a lot to do with the fact that I think, and myself included, we've just started learning to trust ourselves more again,
Yes. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
getting back into that arena of life of trusting yourself. Like you have skills in your toolbox. You're not going into this blind. You know that you can make a very well thought out informed decision because you have the knowledge, you have the experience. So it seems less hesitant now because we've have built those skills from our healing journeys to know like, okay, we know that whatever is going to happen is going to be for our greater good, and then we can rest in that.
Right. So what I'm hearing is a lot of just if you have the right tools that you've
Yeah.
used and that were successful, re-implement them, use them again.
Mhm.
What would it look
Mhm.
like to someone that doesn't know any of this? They might not even know that's what's happening. They might just take it as a simple overwhelm. But there's a lack of mental clarity, like that clarity has just collapsed. You have no idea between purpose and running. Like it's survival mode really that you're living in. And that could be one of the main questions. Do you feel like you're doing your actions to survive? Or do you feel like you're doing it freely without it being forceful and you're happy to do it? So the body does inform you. I would say
Mhm.
you're right. Sit with that stillness. Learn to trust yourself again because that's the thing with that chaos of the burnout. There are so many things that are happening
Yeah.
because you are you're burning your energetic light and your life from both sides. So it's just coming to a middle ground collapse. And it can be difficult for you to trust your own voice and for you to trust your own self. Sit with yourself and just ask yourself, how are you feeling? How is this
Mhm.
heaviness? How is your heart? How is your spirit? Yeah. And
Yeah.
I
And I
know.
think it's deep because you're probably thinking like right now, like actually need to do
I
this too.
like, oh my God, this is so heavy.
Hmm.
Yeah,
But those are good practices and systems and like habits that we can start to incorporate, just exactly what you just did. I think is one of the biggest things that I'm taking away from like my own healing journey. And even in this discussion of burnout, is reincorporating that habit of being still. It allows you the opportunity to just listen to your body, to listen to just the smallest thing as your heart beating. And I think that can help ground you. Stop for a
sure.
second.
And you see
Yeah,
how you said it? You're
yeah.
absolutely right. It was so gentle. There was no judgment to yourself. There was no ill
Mm,
intention. There was no lack of love. It was like, let's pause, and your body will be happy. Like your heart will be
mhm,
happy for to be able to hear that. The other question I would want us to try to discover on this, what can we do to rebuild trust with
mhm.
ourselves?
I think just knowing that no matter what, that I kind of just learned to just let go. And I think I talked about it too in a couple episodes that we've done too, is just that decision of just letting go and relinquishing control. That has helped me rebuild trust in myself because it helped me take myself out of the picture for a second and just allow things to just be. I know it's really hard to do because I am also someone that likes to want to have some type of control. Like I just know what's coming. And my decision to let go and let things just be has allowed me to be more rooted and more grounded.
Yeah, right.
I should do
Right.
this more often. I can trust in that. Even if things didn't work out or things went sideways, it's like, okay, I'm still learning and I'm still testing myself. I'm still allowing myself to go through the motions. And each time I go through that, I'm building another upon like it's like I'm like overcoming another mental challenge. I'm putting another skill in my toolbox that I've learned from that experience. So I think those are ways I've learned to rebuild trust with myself.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. So I have in the past asked myself when I feel like something is too difficult to do, I will tell myself, I'll remind my
Okay.
psyche, remind my body, remind my brain, remind my emotions when we were able to successfully complete something that we were unsure of or we were afraid of
Mm,
doing. So it's like talking to a younger version of myself in consolation or seeking guidance from them. Like, we are strong, we can do this, we can get through this. And then secondly, what I would say is perhaps asking yourself, how did we get there? Did we intend to get there? And if we did, but we're asking ourselves, how did we get there? That means we are not arriving with the results that we intended to get to that point with. So, what results were we looking for? And are we still interested in finding those results? Are we still interested in getting that we were pursuing? Then, okay, how can we do that now? How can we have something newly developed, a new objective, a new goal towards getting to that place? So something different. Can we do that? I would say
right.
again, the gentleness, re-entering the court of life again, but gently,
Yeah.
gently with more purpose, more stride in your step. It's possible.
Yeah. No, I
Yeah.
agree. Also, too, by learning to trust ourselves again and taking away certain things that we're learning through each experience, I think we're also learning to create more boundaries, which are essential to protecting ourselves and providing like new clarity as well.
100%. Because one of the things that we get burned out from is just all these distractions. And I was saying all these
Hmm.
yeses that I committed to this year. You're not giving yourself the moment to breathe. You're not giving yourself the energy of one thing to fade off. You're constantly energized by the anticipation of the next thing, the demand of the next thing.
Yeah.
But, setting those boundaries. No, I'm actually busy. No, it's my time alone tonight. I'm unable to do this, and with only or with your personal self, I'm feeling tired. Maybe I shouldn't go work out. Maybe I don't have to cook tonight. Gentleness with those boundaries. These are the ways I'm going to operate by, but keep it still with some fluidity to say, I'm still going to respect it if I have to have an alternative. But yeah, I think boundaries will definitely help to rebuild that trust to help you redefine that purpose.
And then even when you notice yourself going back, how can someone realize that they're slipping back into certain behavior, like burnout behaviors? I know for me, when I'm feeling burnt out, I like to kind of just sit in silence and I do take a pause and I need to go do something that will instantly improve my mood. And so your body sensations can even tell you that too. I know sometimes I'll start feeling really heavy, or when I'm trying to do simple tasks, I start becoming more irritable and frustrated. And it's just like, wait a minute, okay, I'm burnt out right now. Let me just, again, like stop and then go do something and take like a mental break for like 5 minutes, 10 minutes or something. And I was
Definitely.
curious, do you notice yourself when like you're slipping back into certain like burnout behaviors?
Yes. Certainly. I would say if you are not looking forward to the thing that you want to do, that's a burnout.
Mm,
If you
yeah.
immediately check into it and you're going, oh my God, I don't want to do this right now, you are burnt. This is it. If you don't feel like you can stop, because the moment you stop, the worse it gets. That's been my trigger. That has been my moment is I can't
Mhm.
stop. No, I have to keep going. If I stop now, everything just gets piled up more and more. And then the self-sabotage, as you mentioned, the irritability. Are you being mean to yourself? Because you start with the negative self-talk. You'll start sabotaging yourself. You start being angry with yourself. And then, of course, it filters out and to the people in your environment, to the people in your space. Early warning signs. Yeah, that's it
Yeah.
for sure.
I guess in that case, you can kind of stop it and ask yourself is what does enough look like right now?
I know. Oh my goodness. Enough is just feeling like the mental capacity you have is depleted. The eagerness, the excitement that you'd have towards something is not present right now. You are not present emotionally, physically, spiritually. You're not there giving it your all. These are pretty much I have had enough, because you're not fully committed to what's next, the next step of what you're trying to do. And it will be with it will not deliver the same type of product you could if you were full capacity, if you were fully present. So it doesn't hurt to stop at that moment of I've had enough and say, all right, I need a rest, I need a reset, I need to figure out how to get past this moment.
Yeah. And what do you think it also means to trust that reset can be part of the calling?
I mean, resting feels great. Who doesn't feel good by resting? Who doesn't
Definitely.
who doesn't feel amazing by resting? And if you do it properly with the honesty that I'm resting so I can come back better and stronger, it produces different results. You will feel differently versus I'm just resting because I'm so burnt out. I just need this rest. I can come back to this thing. That's a whole
Hmm.
different ball game. That's a whole different part
Yeah.
that you're choosing to play in. So we have to do with conscious effort to say, am I healthy resting? Or am I just idly resting? Just turn off the motor for a few hours and I'll get back to it later
Hmm.
on. That's very different. We have to give ourselves the grace to know that, the mind, the spirit, the body gets depleted. How can you restore it? How can you restore
Hmm.
so that you can come back with, the same energy that you used to have for this and the same invigoration that you used to have for it before? Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Oh my goodness. We are looking at what if we are burnt out and we're pursuing something brand new again? How can you figure out what you want to pursue? And what is that thing that you have been missing out on pursuing?
Let's see. I think I just kind of ask myself, what is it that I want to accomplish? And then what are steps that I could take to get there now? That's kind of how
Okay.
I go about it. Yeah.
With that, do you feel like it's something we can leave versus something we have to chase?
I prefer to be in the moment. So I would say it's something that we live versus chasing.
Yeah.
Because I think that constant chasing is like you just kind of feel that you're on go mode 24/7. And I personally think that that leads to quicker burnout. And I think when we're trying to pursue our purpose, I think that it's better to do that while remembering to stay present and living in the moment, because you never know what you might miss when you're not being observant of like your surroundings. You're always constantly on, constantly chasing something, you might miss like, oh wow, if I was in the moment here, I would have noticed this person over there and maybe wanted to like go talk to them. You just never know. So I always just like to just live in the moment and just be, because I don't want to put my body like on mode 24/7 again, because it's just going to lead me to the same result. And then now I'm in that same burnout cycle again. And then I'm going to have to go through the whole process of getting myself out of that. It is easier and preventing myself stress later on.
I so
So,
agree with you. I'm so happy you said
yeah.
that because you play out the cycle so well. It's the cycle because if you don't get out of it, if you don't recognize that you're in it and you don't do the right things to trust
Hmm.
yourself, to redirect, to rediscover what's possible, you're back in that chase cycle. You're back in the what's next, what next, what next. I would say another question that we can ask ourselves is, are we ready to hold that new thing that we're rebuilding, that we are
That's true.
now taking up and taking responsibility for? Because now we are telling ourselves, I trust you to do this. So we have to be very honest and say, am I ready to accept the responsibility of this new person? And what is that going to require of me to do that? And we have to be very frank with it, to be very honest, because it's going to take work once again. It's not going to be the same thing, that same chase, that same cycle that you're used to. Your body will want to go back there. That brain knows it's a safe space for you, but you've been burnt out for a reason. And by asking the questions of, what restores me? Where do I feel aligned? How do I feel right now? Am I hurting? Am I happy? What is that
Mhm.
going to be? How do you prepare yourself to hold that new person and new space you're becoming?
Right. Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree. Those are great questions. And I leave our audience with too, like just encouraging you all to utilizing this rest period before the holidays, embracing yourself for the new year to come. Ask yourself those questions like, what does enough look like right now? What does it mean to trust that rest can be part of your calling? And, where are you now? Is that a place to be honored, instead of rushing? How can purpose be something that you live rather than something that you chase? And are you ready to receive what you want to come in the next year?
Yes.
Yeah.
Great journal prompts, great personal vision boarding questions to just reassess, how that is your personal examination for 2025. That is going to be
Yeah.
mine. This
Yeah.
is your exam. Exam is about to start on December something. So when this episode is
December 31st.
yeah, let's sit and let's write this exam and let's write it with integrity. Let's be very honest
Yeah.
because that is the space that we have. And if we do want things to change, somebody else is not going to do it for us. We have to be able to invest the time, invest the work, know where we are, know what we've done, and what are we willing to do henceforth with that.
Yeah.
Be
Hmm.
right about
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. I agree.
Great questions. But we hope you enjoy this episode. And we're asking for you to be able to love this, share it, and comment. We are honored to be able to have these discussions and to continue to serve our listening community. This is for the greater good. And every year that we close off and we enter into a brand new year, we are always having reflections and we're always asking ourselves, how am I going to do better this year? Episode being present with all of these great questions to be considered. Share it with someone that you think can get value from it. You can find us on Amazon Music, on Spotify, on YouTube. Share our pages on Instagram, and we're so grateful that you have taken the time to listen to us.
Thank you so much for tuning in, and we hope to see you on the next one.